Welcome to this week's Racing News Show, where we have a new season of UCI mountain bike cross-country racing starting at the classic venue in the Czech Republic, Nové Město na Moravě. We have all the race highlights on GMBN Racing, plus videos coming to GMBN Tech soon, including new bikes from Velo and Pinarello. So let's start with the short track racing XCC, and the rain came down just before racing started. In the women's race, that led to crashes right in the middle of the pack from Martina Berta straight away and Rebecca Henderson. We had the usual suspects up at the front of the women's race. Luana Lecomte, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, Alessandra Keller and Evie Richards all battling it out. Laura Stiga somewhat in the pack until the last lap, riding that new Specialized. Stiga came round that last turn in second place, but out-sprinted Alessandra Keller for the win.
I had to really fight for my position. During the race I was thinking, I really had to close that gap always, and that it's turned out like this, it's incredible.
Laura Stiga taking that win ahead of a pack of four riders: Alessandra Keller, Sinner Fry, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot and Evie Richards. Now into the men's short track, where there was a couple of late entries actually for Sam Gaze and Tom Pidcock after a couple of riders pulled out, including Andre Sink with illness, and he wouldn't race it at all at the weekend. We saw a really frenetic start with some new school riding, I've got to say, from Schwarzbauer scrubbing over those jumps. Also really interesting to see a few aero helmets in the short track, including Nino Schurter, so maybe the speeds are that high, that's what they're choosing. Also in commentary, Bart Brenton said that Matthias Flucken actually chooses narrower bars that are lower with a shorter fork, and actually most riders choosing two more teeth on their chainring for short track. There was some frenetic racing as ever in the short track, with those tough conditions as well, led to some crashes. Actually, Alan Hatherley crashing on the last lap on the tarmac, taking out Pierre de Froidmont. Tom Pidcock riding really strong and actually hit the front on the last turn, incredibly out-sprinting Sam Gaze and Schwarzbauer, two of the most powerful riders in that race. But he decided that's what he was going to do, get to that last corner first. That was a big statement on that new bike, and super technical riding getting into that corner first.
I only found out I was racing at 3 o'clock, having already done 3.5 hour training ride this morning. So yeah, I always like racing here. I've been second here in the short track before, so it's nice to win one.
Pidcock looking super casual as he cruised through the finish line. Second place went to Sam Gaze, third to Luca Schwarzbauer, Matthias Flucker fourth, Nino Schurter fifth. Really amazing news for us is that we had the Under-23 cross-country racing live on GMBN on the Saturday. Don't forget that when we start the World Cup downhill in just a couple of weeks, we'll have the Junior Downhill World Cups live as well. Actually, Jeff Kabush, the former XC Pro, tweeted about it. Jeff Kabush says live coverage of the Under-23 is a huge step forward for the sport, massive visibility for athletes, but also for sponsors supporting these developing athletes. Also pretty cool to be able to finally watch a couple of kids from my hometown race. Yes, got to agree with Jeff there. It's really exciting to see those youngsters racing. Right, let's head over to Rich in Nové Město na Moravě to see how the track was holding up for Sunday's cross-country Olympic race.
Yeah, thanks Neil. So the weather for the men's race is a lot wetter. You can see riders really struggling always to find grip in certain places as the rain's come down all afternoon. The women had it very dry in the race, but the routes now are absolutely polished as riders really struggle to get up the hill. Another factor catching the riders out when it comes to the weather conditions and the changing of the soil is this, look, you've got these nice dry pockets. You can see the riders kicking up powder, if you like. The roots are nice and dry, but then, look, they come around this way and it's really wet. The mud's getting dragged down onto the roots. They're getting slicker. You can see the actual ground itself is wetter, and this changing condition is really what's putting riders to the test.
Okay, let's get into the women's cross-country Olympic, and it's got to be said that Evie Richards is back. After a tough last year with a back injury, she did win a couple of World Cups back in 2021, but not the greatest of years last year. But Evie rode off the front of the race, was chased by Puck Peters and Pauline Ferrand-Prévot. Puck Peters actually still under 23, but chooses to race in Elite. Evie Richards actually suffered a puncture that took her out of the lead and cost her about 50 seconds, and was this the moment where it happened?
She has a flat tire.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no,
is that rear looking soft?
Yes, rear is looking soft.
Richards looking down.
So quite sad for Evie, but great to see her back at the front of races. Puck Peters was kind of yo-yoing with Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, and she caught and overtook Prévot on the last lap, and that was that. Puck Peters is actually from a cyclocross background, and our in-house cyclocross expert, Tom Last, actually said that is what the sort of technique they use, is exploding on the tech really hard sections and then riding easy on the easy parts, and that's where you see like yo-yoing going on.
I never expected her to win. I knew I had good legs and I was strong, but then to make it happen is really special. It was actually just to not go all out in the beginning, but that didn't work because we started really fast. But luckily I could keep up the pace and it just went. I just went with it, with how it went.
I'm very happy about my race. So it was not the best. It was not my best shape, but I have to work a lot to be in better shape. But I'm very, very happy, and I didn't expect to finish third after my short track result.
I wanted like a really fun race, and I think the puncture gave me a bit of excitement, didn't it? So I had a great time, and it's just so nice being back racing. And when I was going up the climb, I just wanted a smile because I just felt so lucky to be back racing and feeling strong. So it was great.
After Puck Peters in the women's race, there were some fresh faces at the front of the men's XCO as well, with Joshua Debeau, the young French rider, who actually rides the Rot Rider Ford team. He had a couple of 10th places last year at Leo Gang and Valnord, but this is the first time we've seen him right up front at Cross Country Olympic. Also, the return of Matthias Flukiger. Matthias Flukiger back racing this year after an atypical doping result last year was ruled not to be positive. So actually great to see him back racing and actually up towards the front of the race as well. So we had Luca Schwarzbauer at the front with Nino Schurter behind, then Gaze had an over-the-bar situation. Actually, Tom Pidcock and the rest of the pack got stuck behind Gaze as he went over the bars. Interesting to see Joshua Debeau riding that Rot Rider, and then you've got Tom Pidcock battling with him on that brand new Pinarello as well, with a chase group of Luca Schwarzbauer, Nino Schurter and Matthias Flickinger. The race wasn't without incident for Matthias Flickinger, as he had this situation down one of the most technical sections of the whole track. But Tom Pidcock looked just too strong for everyone this weekend. Throwing whips into the finish line, this was his third elite win back-to-back at Nové Město na Moravě. Really interesting to see Tom Pidcock come off a really strong spring season on the road. And actually makes me think about Mathieu van der Poel as well, who wasn't there this weekend, but it sounds like we can have Tom Pidcock and van der Poel at the Andorra round, and maybe world champs as well. Although, unfortunately, I don't think we'll have them at all of the cross-country World Cups this year. Can't wait to see them go head-to-head in Andorra. Back over to Rich, where he caught up with Tom just after the finish.
Tom, congratulations today. Heck of a start to your race season. Wins in short track and cross-country Olympic. How was it out there, mate?
Yeah, it was, as expected, it was a hard race.
They pushed you on pretty hard by the looks of it. You had a little mistake in the middle. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that one?
Yeah, I think in hindsight I should have gone in lower pressure, but I didn't want to go too low. You know, the roots and the rocks here are pretty savage, so I didn't want to risk puncturing. But yeah, in the end it was, I should have gone a bit lower.
Top 5 in the cross-country Olympic for the men's was Tom Pidcock, Joshua Debeau, Nino Schurter, Jordan Sarrou and Thomas Grillo. There was so much amazing racing in the Czech Republic, and I haven't even mentioned the first ever UCI cross-country marathon, where racers took on the massive 120-kilometre race. We have the cross-country marathon highlights on GMBN Racing to see some of the amazing looking trails of the area that look super technical and fun. We'll be bringing you loads of the action from the new UCI Mountain Bike World Series here on GMBN Racing, but if you want to watch every race in one place, including the live elite finals from the cross country and downhill World Cups, then grab a sub to GCN Plus to ensure you catch every unmissable moment live or on demand.